In this video, we're going over the Math 1 Practice EOC, problems 41 through 45. Okay, for the first problem, number 41, it says, the sequence below shows the number of trees a nursery plants each year. Which formula could be used to determine the number of trees the nursery will plant next year, if the number of trees planted this year is known? Okay, so one of the things that I realized is that what's happening each time. Well, first off, okay, you're timing by 4. Okay, every time I'm timing by 4 to get to the, if I had a table, you have 2, 8, 32. What are you doing to get to the next number on the table? You're timing by 4. So I know my answer choice needs to include timing by 4. Okay, and really the only one that does that is A. Okay, what do you do now to get to the next one? You times it by 4. Okay, this would be divided by 4. That's going to make it smaller. This is saying times by 2 plus 4. No, just adding 6 each time. Those don't make sense. It has to be 41. Sorry, it has to be A. Okay, 42. There were originally 4 trees in an orchard. Each year, the owner planted the same number of trees. In the 29th year, there were 178 trees in the orchard. Which function can be used to determine the number of trees in the orchard in any year? Okay. Well, the first thing that I noticed is that it said originally 4 trees. That's the starting point. Okay, so I was going to make a table. I start with 4, and I know that in the 29th year, I have 178 trees. Well, that's 2 points. That's enough to use the slope formula to find the slope. Also, if it starts at 4, can you have a negative 4? No, you cannot use that as your y-intercept. So those 2 are out. Now I need to decide is my slope 6 or 178 over 29. Well, my slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is 178 minus 4 over 29 minus 0. And I get 174 over 29, which is, and then I divide that in my calculator, 174 divided by 29, and you get 6. And the answer is C. If you forgot your slope formula, you could use the same process. How did you get from 4 to 178? You added 174. How did you get from 0 to 29? You added 29. 174 divided by 29 is 6. Okay? This is just another way of using the slope formula, but most people forget that's what they're doing. Okay, for 43, the vertices of a quadrilateral EFGH are here. What kind of a quadrilateral is EFGH? So first thing I did was plotted my points, and then I connected them. So I can already tell this is not a trapezoid. That's out, and it's definitely not a square. Now, is this a rectangle that's not a square, or is it a rhombus that's not a square? This kind of has to make me go back to my definitions of rectangles and rhombus. Rhombus is similar to a square about the side length. Now, a rectangle that's not a square, what are the rules? It has to have 4 right angles. You should use that for perpendicular or 4 right angles. Okay? The opposite sides have to be the same length. And parallel, but that makes it that so. When I look at this, I can see that from here to here, I went up 3 and over 3, which means I have a slope of positive 1. And from here to here, I can see that I went down 3 and over 3, which means I have a slope of negative 1. So that tells me that these are 4 right angles, and opposite sides are the same. Let's see. Most people are going to pick rectangle anyway because they see a rectangle. Alright, 44. R is the midpoint of the segment PS. Q is the midpoint of segment RS. P is located at 8, 10, and S is located at 12, -6. What are the coordinates of Q? Some people wanted to graph this on graph paper. That's perfectly fine. I did not, but if you wanted to, you could. I just kind of wrote a little note to the side about where each one was. Sorry, and S is at 12, -6. Okay. They're telling me that Q is the midpoint of RS, so I can go ahead and find that. I know that, sorry, Q is the midpoint, no, Q is the midpoint of RS, so I know that I need to add those together. So I have, and the formula is x plus x over 2, y plus y over 2, just a reminder, that's my midpoint. Okay, so 10 plus 12 divided by 2, that's going to be my first order pair. And then 2 plus negative 6 divided by 2, that's my second order pair. So that's going to be 20 over 2, sorry. No, that's going to be 22 over 2. And this is going to be negative 4 over 2, which reduces to 11 comma negative 2. Okay, so that is telling me Q. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I jumped a step. I already knew R because I did the midpoint on that one first. I'm sorry. Okay, so there we go. That was, I knew something was off. I need to, when they said R was the midpoint, I should have done this first. I'm sorry. I should have said 8 plus 12 over 2, and then 10 plus negative 6 over 2, which would give me 20 over 2, and 4 over 2, which is 10 comma 2. That's how I got R. Okay, so I should have done this first. Sorry. If you're confused, you can come ask me. When they gave me P and S, I found the midpoint. They gave me R, and then I needed to find the midpoint of this part to find Q. So you had to use the midpoint formula twice. So the answer is C. Here we go. All right, for 45, the sequence below shows the total number of days Francisco had used his gym membership at the end of weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. Assuming the pattern continued, which function could be used to find the total number of days Francisco had used his gym membership at the end of the week? Okay, so when they're telling me that these numbers line up, I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are my logs. Okay? And again, they said that N represents the week number. Okay? So I'm trying to figure out what's happening each time. And I notice hopefully you do choose that you are adding 5. Okay? So I know that to get to the next I need to add 5 each time, and for week 1 it's at 4, but if you were going to go back, you would be at what? -1. Okay? Similar to the pizza problem that I worked out earlier in a different video, I'm going to plug in these values to see for it to work. So if I plug in 1 plus 5, I should get 4. That does not work. I do not get that. If I plug in 1, 5 times 1 minus 1, that's 5 minus 1, which is 4. That is the correct answer. So here I did not get 4, that was wrong. That works, so let me keep trying just to make sure this is the only one. 5 times 1 plus 4, that's going to give me 9, which is not equal to 4, so that's not right. And this is saying you number squared. So 1 squared is 1, which is not equal to 4, because that's what I need to get. That's not it. So the only one that works when you plug in the value of n to give you the next number is B. And that's the end for this one.